Welcome to CPG Vibes. No scripts,
just chat.
I'm Alex Baer.
And I'm Wade Yenny.
Each episode is recorded live, and we talk all things food and beverage, and so much more.
Feel our vibe and search for CPG Vibes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and make sure to give us a 5-star review.
If you'd like to sponsor our show with your product or service, email us at cpgvibes100@gmail.com.
Now, let's vibe.
All right, welcome to episode 129 of CPG Vibes. Thank you for joining us. For those that are tuning in, we just talk about all things CPG. We have some great topics for today, including an Ask Us Anything. So in the comment section for LinkedIn over here, make sure to put in your questions or comments, and we will answer them whether we like the questions or not. And we're also talking about trending categories to look out for, and then we're going to do all this other random shit that we talk about that may not even be related to those two things. But before we go there and do the no script just chat, Wade, how's it going, buddy?
Good. Good. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
I was about to guess that.
Yeah, I figured you were. We were in Asheville last night for a Cake concert. The band Cake. If you're not familiar, you should be.
You gotta run in the faster. What is that song? Run faster. You have to have the. I can't remember. You know what song
I'm not sure which one. Not going the distance.
Going the distance. That's it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they always put on a good show. So we were there and headed over to Gatlinburg this morning. I've spent most of the day working out of the Tesla, which was really cool. I did all my Zooms in my Tesla, which was really, really cool. And I used my phone for email, the computer or the Tesla screen for my Zoom. So it's been a productive day. And after we finish up here, we're getting ready to go out on the town, see what we have to offer here. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. I'm definitely used to that, working from the Tesla. It's very comfortable, right? It's very comfortable in there.
It is. It was, it came through fine. The reception was good. Sound quality was fine. No complaints. It was very, very cool.
Right on. Even when you're charging, right? Charging the Tesla, you can do work, you can watch Netflix, you can do YouTube, and they have everything you'd ever want to be entertained by while you're waiting for your car to charge. So, all right. So we have some laundry list items here just to go over. First off, make sure to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcast. We reclaimed it. We are the #1 rated podcast in the world. And we're also pretty much, as far as what I've seen, one of the few, if only, CPG podcasts that have 5 stars, 5 out of 5, not a 4.6, but a 5. So thank you to everyone for giving us 5 stars already. And if you haven't, go on your phone, especially if you have an iPhone, just type in Apple Podcasts, go on there, search CPG Vibes. You'll see our 2 beautiful made for radio faces, and make sure to give us 5 stars there. All right. So thank you for that. If you'd like to be a sponsor on CPG Vibes, make sure to email cpgvibes100@gmail.com. And then we have some openings, but much later in the year. In December, it's almost completely booked up for 2024. So at this point, if you're looking for multiple episodes and they block sponsorship, it's going to be pouring into 2025. So make sure to get on that and get on the board as far as being a sponsor, because it is really booking up extremely, extremely quickly. And then we have a Slack channel, cpgvibes.slack.com. And then we also have a Venmo account. So if you'd like to donate to our show, no pressure. We've had some members donate in the past, like Kenny Hausman, but it's just go to venmo.com, search for CPG Vibes, and you can donate to help us keep the lights on there. So we have 2 ongoing sponsors, right? We have My Way 3PL, and I almost forgot our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@CPG Vibes, which is broadcasting live right now, and then you can watch it also after the fact. All right, so we have our 2 ongoing sponsors, My Way 3PL and also Range Me. And also, before going into details about them, we have our weekly sponsor for the second week in a row, which is Kiowa USA. And this is going to be really special, Wade. We're being joined by the CEO of Kiowa USA, Gerard Adams. And I just met his team in Palos Verdes at the New Business Journal conference, which was awesome to see them. And they are now premier sponsors for our show. And we're going to be joined by him at the 45 mark. I can't say what time because we're different time zones. We're international, right, Wade? So tons of different
exactly
going on. Few people in, whether it's Canada, whether it's South America, whether it's Europe, we're popular everywhere. So, which is a good feeling. So going into our ongoing sponsors here. So again, just some information about them. We're really excited to announce our first and our newest ongoing sponsor, which is My Way 3PL. And so My Way 3PL is really about helping emerging CPG brands that are struggling with finding affordable warehousing and e-commerce services for your pallets of product. And then, the big question is, right, with brands is, are you going through other 3PL services that are requiring large volume and charging really high rates? My Way 3PL is built to work with small and large brands alike. Whether you're shipping and storing your first single pallet to freighting and storing multiple truckloads, My Way 3PL can service companies at all growth stages. They have a network of 13 distribution centers for ambient storage. That's ambient, right? Make sure you note that. Across the country, from Southern California to Texas to the Midwest and many more regions. And it was cool because we announced the sponsorship this week, right, on LinkedIn. Through our CPG Vibes, plus through our personal LinkedIns. And we announced it also for the first time last week. And they're already getting people calling, which is great. People are calling because there is a need for, it's like a void where either, it's a warehouse that's too big and they're not able to take a business that's too small or that's small, or they're at capacity, or they're not flexible, or their rates are too high. And My Way 3PL just kind of really kicks in to help those companies looking for affordable solutions. But also, if you're in your first pallet, they're going to bring you in, right? They're going to welcome you into the family and help you scale and grow your business. And what's great about this, speaking of helping you scale and grow your business, your first pallet for the first month is free at their vast selection of distribution centers. They will streamline your logistics and scale you from small to large, or if you're already large, to even larger. They work with businesses doing hundreds of millions in revenue or doing their first million in revenue. So make sure to go to www.myway3pl.com. Is the landing page up yet? The CPG Vibes. We'll check that. But it's definitely go to myway3pl.com. And if the landing page is up, it's myway3pl.com/CPG Vibes. All right. So, and then our second ongoing sponsor, thanks for bearing with us, everyone, is Range Me. Range Me is the smartest way to get your brand in front of thousands of retailers, experience always on brand exposure, exclusive buyer discovery opportunities, and access to proprietary insights, research, and resources. They work with over 15,000 buyers. Range Me ensures continuous exposure to retail buyers from top retailers like Target, Albertsons, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Publix, out in kind of your neck of the woods, Wade. At least, are they I think they're in Tennessee as well. Kroger, Costco, Wegmans, HEB, Food Line, Giant Foods, Fresh Market, and many, many more. But that's not all. Range Me, combined with eCRM category sessions, deliver exclusive live in-person events where you can meet directly with leading national and regional retail buyers for curated face-to-face meetings. Ready to elevate your brand? Go to rangeme.com/CPG Vibes and save up to 30% on their premium and pro subscriptions. Again, rangeme.com/CPG Vibes. And last but certainly not least is our weekly sponsor, which is Kiowa USA. They're the makers of Cognizant, which we're big on here on this show. That's how we get this prolonged focus for an hour at the end of the week on Friday when most people are just shot and tired, right? They can't even think straight. We can think straight because of Cognizant. And they also have Amuse as well, which is another popular product. If you have a brand, especially a beverage brand, but it could be a food brand, supplement, you can use these ingredients. They're tasteless, odorless, throw them into your product, and you can enhance your product with some functional benefits. And really, Cognizant, their main tagline is "Find Your Focus." They're an industry-leading nootropic for work, exercise, gaming, or everyday activity. Cognizant is the gold standard for focus, mental energy, and comprehensive brain health. Learn more at cognizant.com. Okay, and Kenny Hausman says, "Love me some Cognizant." Good stuff. All right. So let's get to it, right? I'm going to take a couple breaths, but why don't we talk about our first subject for today? Again, there's no script, just chat, but we do have a little bit of a script here, which is talking about trending categories to really look out for that we feel strongly, right? And this is all data plus kind of just our gut talking right now on categories that you know that are still growing. It's still not too late to get into them. They're still growing rapidly. They're still crossing into the mainstream. And we're going to talk about how to continue to catch those waves of trending categories that have not been spoken for or that are too saturated. So as an example, if you're trying to get into coconut water right now, it's going to be very difficult. That's a category that started in 2003. If you're trying to get into low sugar, high protein, that's been spoken for as well. Koya, Remedy, all these brands. Owen, Only What You Need, that had their acquisition about a month ago. Those have all been pushed on for 7, 8, 9 years, and there's big brands, and even the big guys, the Coke, Pepsis, Dr. Peppers of the world, they're getting into it with their own brands. So what is early enough to where you can get in, but at the same time established enough where you can get some immediate growth from? And so I'm going to go flip it back to you, Wade, so I can take a breath or two and tell us what are your thoughts on this topic.
Yeah, I don't think the one that I wanted to at least bring up and have some conversation about was the real plant-based foods category. We went through different areas of development, with regards to, I won't call them synthetic, but some things that had some ingredients that you couldn't pronounce, things you've never heard of before, things that were conceived or created in a lab. And now I think the trend of, looking at the back of a package and knowing the actual ingredients and understanding, like the one that comes to mind to me, I think they do an excellent job. I love the product, is actual veggies. The burgers that are spot on, you look at the ingredients, and I could probably pull them up here quick, but it's you understand them, right? I mean, it's actual veggies, right? It's not, the name is is well done. But if I look at, I'm pulling up one of their ingredients, or one of their burgers now. Excuse me. Their purple item has uh purple sweet potatoes, purple carrots, beets, white beans, red onions, and quinoa. And their black bean has black bean, carrot, red pepper, parsnips, onions, and oats. And their sweet potato patty has sweet potatoes, white beans, carrots, cauliflower, caramelized onions, and red pepper. So you understand what those ingredients are. It's very clean, very neat. And I think the trend is definitely headed in that direction, as far as that's what people are looking for with regards to those patties. So that's the one category, in my opinion, that I wanted to talk a little bit about. I think, I've said time and time again, mushrooms. We keep seeing. I thought when I was in California, and I've been gone from California for 2.5 years now, but when I was there, starting to see mushrooms and thinking, okay, this was going to grow. Had Parker Olson with forage. You had, at the time I was really trying to get Mudwater into Jimbo's, and didn't get across the finish line before I left. But and I thought, man, when I go to North Carolina, by the time I get there in 6 months, 9 months, mushrooms are going to be there. I think if you look at things now, you actually are starting to see some of that come to fruition, right? Mudwater is now in retail, and mushrooms added to drinks from a functional standpoint, I think there's a better understanding. So I think there's a lot of room for growth there, as far as that goes. So those two off the top of my head are the ones that come to mind. And as I look in the chat here, Kenny mentioned the biggest trend in alcohol is no alcohol. That's certainly huge. And it's funny because I had some back and forth this week on uh LinkedIn with Sarah Delaney with with regards to that, and asking about how you can how what needs to happen in that category. And for me, it was the struggle I had at the places I've been at from a retail perspective, was dedicating the space, like, and then committing to it, right, and merchandising it properly, and having the brands, and then using your marketing vehicles to promote the brands that you have. And I think there's a huge opportunity there for retailers. I think up till now, there's been a lot of people either dragging their feet, or just non, just the concern over committing to that shelf space, because it's all shelf space is valuable. But I think when you look at the trends in in the category, the sky's the limit. People are looking for mocktails. They're looking for non-alcoholics. They're looking for things to use in place of alcohol. Gavin's mentioning THC beverages.
Mm-hmm.
I think every establishment, drinking establishment that I see in my town in Little Kernersville, North Carolina, has a alternative to alcohol on draft or by can available, and typically it has Delta 8, Delta 9, THC, something of the effect. So those are the ones off the top of my head that I would touch on. So now I get to take a breath, and I see you taking notes, so you've got things to
Yeah, a
say.
lot of notes.
Tag,
A
you're
lot of
it.
notes.
You're it. You're
Yeah,
it.
see, it's full. It's full. So I want to make a comment first on the, and by the way, thank you, BevNet, for the shirt. You know, they're across the aisle. They're another podcast, but we love to support each other because we're all in this together. We're rising tide to lift all the CPG boats, right? So thank you again, BevNet, for the shirt. So in relation to the plant-based, like real plant-based, yeah, I've been a vegetarian for 17 years, you know, on and off, but mostly vegetarian. And, you know, when you go to really good vegetarian restaurants, they serve you a veggie burger. And the veggie burger is made of potato, oats, rice,
Mhm.
you know, maybe a little quinoa in there or something like that for some protein. And it's just like 7 or 8 ingredients that they mash together and they make themselves in the kitchen. And so like I'm like, yes, like that is a veggie burger. And I feel like we've really, you know, navigated away from that, from the market and the explosion of plant-based burgers, especially, you know, not naming names, right? But let's call them they start with a B and end with a D, and it rhymes with he own. And essentially their quality is really not that high because they put additives in there. They put other things for shelf preservation and shelf life, and to make it maybe taste better, make it taste more like meat or the texture of meat. And I think like we need to get away from that and just have it be solid, very clean ingredients that just taste good. It doesn't have to taste like a burger, like a meat burger. It just has to taste good and be clean and healthy. And I think if you do that, you're going to get the vegetarians over because we don't give a shit if it tastes like meat or not. And you're going to get the meat eaters over because they know that nothing can ever match the taste of meat, period, unless it's meat. So, and I think a lot of these bigger brands that have been, you know, have brought in a lot of funding, they were trying to make it taste and have the texture of an actual hamburger patty. And I felt that was a fundamental mistake. What I love about actual veggies, right? And I love about you know, John Bonnell, right? John Bonnell
Mhm.
is that he's not trying to mimic a hamburger. He's just trying to make a damn good product that's high quality, that tastes really good with great clean ingredients, and he's definitely accomplished that. So when it comes to, I agree with you on non-alc. Um, Non-alc seems to be just a category that continues to boom, but I'm going to go one step further and talk about social tonics. Social tonics. So, and that's what they're calling them now. They're calling them, like when you go to stores, you know, when you see Hio, like Hio just had an announcement. I believe that they're in Sprouts nationally or something. I saw something like that. And I think with Hio, the social tonics that have ashwagandha in there, or L-theanine, other plant-based ingredients that make you feel loose, make you feel calm. Kin is another one that I fucking love. Kin, I love that product. That just makes you feel good. It's called, I think, Cool Calm Collected, one of their SKUs, and it has blueberry in it. It's clean ingredients. Doesn't have, I think it has CBD. I believe one of their SKUs. I might be wrong on that, but it makes you feel good to go out to a party and socialize without the side effects and the negative health effects and side effects of alcohol. So I think like beyond just non-alc and having it taste kind of like beer, whether it's Rationale or Athletic Brewing, I feel social tonics is the future to get people off alcohol. And, you know, another product is Feel Free. That's another one. Feel Free has kava root and kratom in it, kratom leaf. Kratom is another hot ingredient. It's a little controversial, right? You know, where some states don't allow it, but there's different versions of kratom. I've done a lot of studying and reading up on kratom, but it's a very popular ingredient because it makes you feel good. It gives you some energy. It kind of relaxes you at the same time and loosens you up. And there's no alcohol and there's no caffeine. So I think another ingredient to look out for is kratom. beyond just a normal social tonic. And Feel Free markets themselves as a social tonic, social uplift.
Right.
So I like how
There's
we're getting away from alcohol, which is good.
Right. There's some great comments in here. Luke, who just happens to be my boss, by the way, V Driven,
So
cheap
happens to
plug.
be.
But he mentioned Abbott's Butcher Burger, which is fantastic. That's one of our clients. But also, I put in the chat another one of our clients. You mentioned Social Tonics, Whole Harmony. They make some amazing tonics. I don't know if I would call them social per se, but they're anti-inflammatory. They're supposed to invigorate your body, promote your overall health, and so they do a fantastic job with elderberry syrup. They have one called Folk Fire Blood, which is incredible as well.
Fire.
It's got raw apple cider vinegar tonic. It's a herbal supplement. Now these you're only supposed to take a teaspoon of a day, but it's kind of that same mentality, right? It's the overall wellness and whatnot as far as what we're going for, and good stuff for sure. But there's a lot of stuff coming up in the chat. Maria mentions improv cocktails. Kenny's talking about kratom being iffy, but kava being good. Yeah, it's definitely a trend. There's definitely a gravitation in that direction.
Exactly. And with kratom, I will say from doing a lot of research on it, because it's popular in California, there's different versions of kratom. There's whole leaf
Right.
kratom, which is, Feel Free does whole leaf, which is very clean, much cleaner, doesn't have this, it's not a concentrated dosage. But then there's other products that have like 10 times the amount of kratom in it because it's a concentrate and it's way too strong. So anything is only as good as its source, and that's really, I think, the most important thing with kratom. But yeah, I feel social tonics. I mean, Hio is just popping up everywhere, and I feel like the sky is the limit. And I saw an ad on YouTube. I think it's for have you heard of Brez? Brez? Brez?
I have not.
They're doing 30 million a year in revenue. They
Hmm.
went from 0 to 30 million within 18 months. And Brez is a social tonic. It's in a silver can, and it has, I believe, again, don't quote me, but I believe it has THC infused in it. I think 30 milligrams or 50 milligrams per serving, and they're taking off like crazy too. And it's reasonably clean, but it gives you that feeling of, I feel good without the alcohol. So that's another example.
I see. I pulled them up on Amazon. I see Lion's Mane mushroom drink, stress relief, mood boost, social tonic. I didn't get to their full ingredient list here. Quick. Agave nectar, lemon juice, chicory root, lion's mane extract, Italian lemons, elderflower, and it's important they're Italian. They're not just U.S. lemons. They're Italian lemons.
Gotta be
Elderflower, lemon extract,
Italian.
etc. So yes, some good stuff there. And not to change the subject, but we did say we were going to ask us anything, and this is a good segue into another topic that I think is pretty interesting, and it's from Joe Tarnowski, talking about TikTok Shop, and he met with some at ECRM's school and office session this week. Said they had some awesome opportunities for brands. And he said he knows one brand in particular, crushed it with them. It got cut off here. Curious about our thoughts about the TikTok Shop platform. I don't know if you use TikTok much, Alex. I certainly mess around. It's entertaining, right? It's just like quick, but I've noticed, I would say in the last, I don't know, probably 2, maybe 3 months, I would say probably 1, maybe 2 out of every 10 clips that I look at is something for the TikTok Shop. And once and they hammer it, like the ones that keep popping up on mine. If I look at it for a second, I'll see it, different content from different creators, like
Mhm.
every,
Mhm.
and just over the same items over and over and over, things that I've looked at. And so you say you don't use it much yourself,
I
or
I
not at
I
all, not at all.
I uninstalled TikTok from my phone, if that answers your question. So
Gotcha.
just being honest.
Well, it's
Just being honest.
no, that's it's but it's important though. The platform is huge right now.
It is.
The
It is.
shop is taking off, and I think to Joe's point, I think there are huge opportunities for brands on that platform. It's crazy. It's doing really well. So Alex isn't a TikTok guy.
No, I was at one point when it first came out. I was like, "Oh, this is new. This is cool." And then it just got, between YouTube Shorts and
Right.
Instagram, shop and all that and reels, and it just became too much. And I'm like, I'm spending too much time on here. And I was even doing the TikTok live as well, like
Mhm.
watching people on TikTok live, which are anywhere from educational to totally bizarre. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've seen the
That's a
one where
whole
like whole other like ball of wax, like there's guys like throwing ping pong balls into cups for like 5 hours straight.
I've seen the people that do the non NPCs, the characters, and they just stay there in character the whole time and do different things, and it's amazing. But
Want to
no,
kill
I
time,
feel
you
we're
watch it,
we're
right?
going to be looking at. I don't know. It's not Amazon, but I'm telling you, I think there's going to be, at least the way I see it now. And we'll see. I'll be very interested to catch up with Joe and find out what brand that is to see how their experience goes as far as that goes, as being on the platform, but something to think about.
Yeah, no, it's a game changer. And then we're going to get to some questions here as well. There were some questions. If you can track those down, wait, I'm
Yep.
trying to go through. But Marciensko Umbo, which is a bar that has functional mushrooms, kind of going back
It's
to that,
awesome. That
you
one's
know, and
awesome.
and I love Mudwater, and I also love one of Mike Fata's
Mhm,
investments, Organics.
mhm.
Phenomenal, like phenomenal organic mushrooms of different mixes, and they have like 20 mushrooms in one powder. Doesn't taste great, but you mix it in with something that's tasty and it tastes a lot better. It's very earthy tasting. All right. So Kenny has a question here. What are your thoughts in regards to the body hacking trends? Well, there's guys like Brian Johnson, right? We can talk about. My opinion, health span versus lifespan, but interested in your thoughts. I mean, this has been, from David Avocado Wolf, right? And the longevity conference to Tony Robbins, to Brian Johnson. Have you heard of this guy, Brian Johnson?
I don't think so, but Brian Johnson is the, VP of operations at the Fresh Market. I think we're talking about a different Brian Johnson
I
though,
think
right?
a different one. Yeah, similar
Yeah.
where Fresh Market has health, natural specialty products. That's the
Right.
crossover there. But Brian Johnson wears a shirt that says "Don't die," basically, and
Hmm.
he was a CEO of I think it was Wayflyer or some major tech company, and he sold it for hundreds of millions of dollars, and he was aging quickly because of the stress and the amount of work. So he dedicated his life to reversing aging with cold plunging, with supplements, with diet, with lifestyle changes. And now I think every year, every 18 months, he's aging 1 year, if that makes sense. Like biologically, he's aging slower than the population. And so he
Hmm.
has platforms now and he has programs to get on his program to take supplements and lifestyle changes to age slower and have more longevity. And so, yeah, Kenny, I know Kenny, yeah, Brian Johnson, different dude. So Kenny, I'm sure knows both Brian Johnsons, but the longevity Brian Johnson, it's pretty cool. So look him up. And I think there's a trend towards it when it comes to infomercials and YouTube, but that really hasn't hit the retail shelf. Like I don't see on the retail shelf, hey, live longer by taking this. What I see on
Right.
retail shelves are feel better right now, get some results now in the next day, in the next 15 days, in the next 30 days with this supplement. And I think a lot of brands are avoiding talking about longevity because it's a claim. It's a very vague claim saying you can live longer by taking this. That opens you up to a lot of lawsuits there. So that's why I think
Right.
it's not the trend is not as big as it could be, but guys like Brian Johnson are pushing this forward where it's not about how many years you're on this earth. It's about how great you feel and the number of years that you're on this earth. You could be on the earth for 100 years, but if you don't feel good for 30 years, it's, not a, it's a really difficult life. So anyway,
Right. I don't see any other questions now. If you have a question for us, throw it in the chat. We're just taking kind of riffing off the topics you throw at us. Robert Kogan put something about purple trend today. Hard not to notice purple leaf kombucha on my desk. Notice more purple popcorn in Meyer. Had a purple potato sample yesterday in Harvest Wagon. And there's more purple coming. So is that something that you've seen, Alex? Purple?
purple, not too much. I mean, I
No?
don't purple yam I see as an ingredient, but I'm not seeing
Hmm.
it as a functional food item or a drink. Like I just don't see it too much. Of course, it's here and Robert's working with an innovative company here. But I don't see a lot of it in stores. I see purple potato snacks, but that's about it. How about you? Have you
Yeah, I
seen
see
it?
a lot. I do see purple potatoes for sure. That's definitely out there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, great stuff. Great stuff.
What
All
other
right.
questions do we have here?
Do you
I
see
think
anything else there?
I'm trying to go back, but Gavin announced he's having twins. Apparently,
Yes,
there he is.
one of each. He hit the I'd say trifecta, but he won the baby lottery. He's having
Wow,
hopefully well, he put it in the chat, so I'm allowed to say it. He's having one of each, so that's a great scenario. I'm so
congratulations,
happy for him. I'm so happy
congratulations,
for him.
Gavin.
Yeah.
So, any recommendations on raising twins? Wife is expecting. So there we go.
Yeah. Happy wife, happy life, Gavin.
Yep.
He
All
knows
right.
that. He knows that.
So let's see if there's any other. Again, this is a Ask Us Anything, and I'm going to take a pause while we're waiting for some questions to come in. That this episode is being sponsored by Kiowa USA, the makers of Cognizant, and also Muse. And by the way, there was a big applause there. Someone punched in. So there's going to be a prize at the end of this episode worth up to $150. It's going to be a
Nice.
hoodie, a Find Your Focus Cognizant hoodie, which looks amazing. It's like a white kind of tie-dye type thing. I could see you wearing that at a trade show.
I would, yeah, that would be great. Did who was it that was it Kenny that won last week or Gav? I can't remember who won the hoodie last week.
I don't want to insult I don't want to insult either of them or both of them, but I mix both of them up sometimes on who's who, on who wins what, because they're both so active on this in this community. But
And we're appreciative of that.
yeah, I think Gavin got it,
Definitely.
I believe. But again, Gavin could be Kenny. We don't know. They're interchangeable right now. So, but you get a Find Your Focus hoodie, you get a branded backpack, you get the goalie gummies, you get the Karma Energy water, and you get the Ollie lollipops. And Cognizant, Amuse, Kiowa, they work with some big brands. And Karen Todd, who is with them and been with them for many years, a registered dietitian, she's being very humble about how many brands they actually work with. So there you go. I saw your bottle. Is there a logo on there, or is that a blank bottle?
It's just a blank bottle. Just a blank
Wow.
bottle. I'm on the road. So I have to take what I can get. Kenny wants to know what my skincare routine is, and it's soap and water. That's believe it or not, I probably need one, Kenny. I probably need you to recommend something to me. But yeah, good stuff.
Your skin's
Yeah, and
beautiful.
then
Your skin's beautiful.
yeah,
Don't worry
thank you.
about it.
Thank you. Like a baby's bottom. Yeah, and so yeah, Kiowa USA, and we're going to be joined by the CEO, right? That's who's joining us today?
CEO of Kiowa USA. It's a big honor. I mean, they're a big company, and they have
Yeah.
Cognizant and Amuse, and that's Gerard Adams. And then we have our ongoing sponsors, MyWay3PL. Go to myway3pl.com, and they help emerging brands who are struggling to find affordable warehousing and e-commerce services for pallets of product. They have a special where your first pallet for the first month is completely free, and they work with small brands alike. If you're a small CPG brand and you're shipping your first grinded up, vegetable, mix into a bottle for drinking, whatever you're coming up with these days, you want to ship out your first pallet, you can work with MyWay 3PL, and they will work with you as a valuable partner, no matter how small or how big. Range Me, they work with over 15,000 buyers, and they ensure continuous exposure to retail buyers from top retailers: Target, Albertsons, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Publix, Kroger, Costco, HEB, Food Line, Giant Foods, Fresh Market, and so many more. We had Midday Squares on a few weeks ago, and they got into Hy-Vee because of Range Me. So it's a big deal. 30% off premium and pro subscriptions. So you go to rangeme.com/CPG Vibes. Another question here.
That's a good one. What country, in your opinion, is leading the way for farming, generative farming? Man, I don't know if I know who's winning, but I can tell you that I've spoke to, I keep it's like these people are queuing me up to talk about V Driven and our company and some of our clients, but one of our clients is but that will I don't know that we've announced it yet, so I don't know that I can talk about it, but is very big in regenerative agriculture, and we will be talking about it in the very near future. As far as what that company is, I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about it. If we're allowed, Luke, put it in the chat. But they're huge in the regenerative, multi-generational organic farming and now regenerative. So that's exciting. So I have to be honest, Teresa. I know the U.S. as far as regenerative. I'm not very familiar outside the U.S. Alex, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the full kno I think Luke Abbott of V Driven, right? He knows
Yeah.
all about, I guess, it's I think they call it ROC, ROC, Regenerative Organic Certified.
Yep.
But I can definitely talk about, to pivot a little bit, on brands that are regenerative, right? That I love. Have you heard of Alexander? You know my name, but
The farm.
Alexander the farm, and they
Yep. The
have
milk.
the most delicious milk. I've started getting into milk again, and they
Hmm.
have a creamy one, they have a middle, and then they have kind of a lighter reduced fat milk, but it's regenerative certified, organic certified.
So Alex, I want to dive into that for a minute.
Sure.
Um, uh, you're vegetarian, not vegan, right?
I'm vegetarian, correct.
Okay, okay, that's what you threw me for a minute, so I wasn't sure if it was you were vegan or not. So okay, excellent. So that's great, and thank you, Sasha and Luke, for putting that in the chat. The brand or the company we are allowed to talk about is Star Walker Farms, and you talk about some fantastic items and just overall the way they care for their animals and everything. So they do jerkies, they do meats, they and jerkies what we're going to be pushing here pretty big, but meats, you name it. Check their website out. I put the link in the chat, but some great stuff as far as regenerative. And it's funny you talk about uh regenerative, that and Jimbo's was making a push for that, like a as a platform that they were really going after when I left in 2022. And I think that might be, we're talking about trending categories, that's probably something to think about. I know that Jimbo's committed an end cap, as part of a program as far as promoting regenerative organic brands, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And Sarah Delaney for with Cirilla just put in the chat as well that there it is Cirilla sponsoring RSFI in Denver early October. If you're interested in learning more about regenerative and networking and learning more about ROC, please attend. So that's a great segue there. And again, there's the link for the Star Walker Organic Farms. Yeah, fantastic stuff.
I do have one more for sure. Very fantastic. Becoming a bigger and bigger proponent of regenerative agriculture because a lot of soil is depleted and it doesn't give the proper nutrients to the produce, right? And a lot of people that are eating produce from a supermarket, it may not even be, it may be partially just dead nutrients because of the time it takes to go.
And Alex cut out there
Actually,
for
the
a minute. Oh,
source is from
there
depleted
he is.
soil. I'm back. Okay.
You cut off for a minute. You
So
cut off for a minute. I was getting ready to tap dance and twirl my cane while I
I'm
was
back.
waiting for you to come back. But you're
Okay.
back with us.
I'm back. So the main thing I wanted to say is that with
Oh, and we lost him. So now I do have to tap dance and twirl my cane around a little bit. But I see, yeah, Kenny, we are doing something coming up. As far as, or we just finished that ROC sourcing campaign that you mentioned. That was a month or two ago. But we've got something else coming up. As Sasha just put in the chat there. That we're doing
am I
an
back? Can you
innovation
hear me
in
okay?
October. You're back. You're back,
Okay.
Alex.
Cool.
I was tap dancing and I was getting ready to sing. So I think you
Okay.
did good.
I
So
want to I want to mention one other
I'm back.
thing before we bring on Gerard Adams here, the CEO of Kiowa USA. And again, if I cut out again, Wade will take over. Sorry, some internet connections. When it's live, these are things that just happen. No script, shit happens, right? That should be our new tagline. Instafarm. Have you heard of Instafarm? This is one more.
I've not. I've not. I saw that you put that. I put that up there. Put it up here again.
Instafarm.ag for agriculture. They source from an Amish farm in Pennsylvania, regenerative soil, high nutrient dense, tested soil, one of the highest tested in basically the entire eastern seaboard. And they put the seeds, they pre-populate the seeds in the soil, and they send you in a little square tray the soil with the seeds in it to your home, and then you buy a one-time buy of 300, around almost $400, like 369, a machine that auto waters the soil for you. You just put it in a machine and it waters it over 7 days, and then it sprouts, spinach, it sprouts arugula, it sprouts like 20 or 30 different veggies that are freshly grown from regenerative soil, organic soil, and you can just pick it right off, the top of the soil and cook with it or eat it straight. It's pretty, and you're getting the full nutrients from the soil and from the plant. And it's freshly grown. It's not like you wait, when it grows on a farm, by the time it hits the stores, it could be 3 weeks later, right? A month later. This is immediate, and you grow it in your house. You don't need a temperature controlled green room, or greenhouse, I should say. So that's been the coolest thing that I've seen in the last, probably 3-4 months, is InstaFarm. It's awesome.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool.
Comfort of your own home. So we're going to bring on our sponsor here, and not, I just calling him a sponsor is just undervaluing the, who he is as a person and the company. He is the CEO of Kiowa USA. His name is Gerard Adams. I'm going to have him turn on his camera before we bring him on. Looks like your camera's off. And a little bit about our sponsor here. I'm doing some tap dancing now as we wait for him to get to turn on his camera. There he is. But a little bit about Kiowa USA. They are the makers of Cognizant and Amuse. It's about finding your focus. Cognizant, an industry-leading nootropic for work, exercise, gaming, and everyday life. Cognizant is the gold standard for focus, mental energy, and comprehensive brain health. Learn more at cognizant.com. So we have welcome to the stage, Gerard Adams, CEO of Kiowa USA. Gerard, how are you?
Welcome, Gerard.
Thanks, Wade. Thanks, Kenny. Sorry, Alex. Apologies. Great to be here. I've listened to you guys on the podcast a couple of times, but my first time hanging out in the live stream. It's definitely my vibe, and CPG is my world, and my favorite people in that world are the entrepreneurs and the sales and marketing folks who make the brands come to life. So it's really cool to be here.
Absolutely. So tell us your story, and I know it's kind of an elevator style here, a long elevator ride up the Empire State Building, right? 100 floors. But tell us your story, and then tell us about how you really came to be with the company, and then anything else you want to share about the value of the ingredients or the product, and then really who is it for, this product?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm based in New York City at the moment. That's where the head office of Kiowa USA is, and as you can probably tell from the accent, originally from Australia. Sydney is my hometown, and but I spent a lot of my career in Tokyo, Japan. Actually, the head office of Kiowa is in Japan, and our ultimate parent company, as Karen said last week, I think, is Kirin. Which many people know originally as the beer company, but it's actually a lot more than that. So hence my affinity with CPGs, having worked in that for a long time. Most of my career was on that beverage side of the business, but I was always interested in the health side of Kirin's group, and it's really picking up pace now, because we do have such a large food and beverage footprint that's been built over a century or more, and then we have a pharmaceutical business, and now we have everything in between. So Kiowa is the B2B platform of that in-between space, which we call health science. And the reason I chose to be in this part of the business, it's kind of a cool job to be able to connect all of the technology and the innovations that we have in this vast group, fueled by a lot of smart people, in our head office and around the world, a lot of PhDs, constantly inventing and discovering new things, and we're able to provide those in B2B ingredients that we sell to our customers. And increasingly, once upon a time, a lot of it was pharmaceutical ingredients, but we're very much a technology company at heart, but very consumer driven, and we've followed the consumer on that journey through the world of dietary supplements, and now functional food and beverage is very much the focus. Obviously, I'm a beverage guy, so that's what I knew, but that's what the consumer is demanding, and Cognizant and Amuse are our two leading examples of that.
Makes sense. So when was you were talking about where at first it was more dietary supplements, that was really the focus before. When did it turn from that to products like Cognizant and Amuse, and when did it turn to more beverage, and why?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, once upon a time, it was mostly pharmaceutical. Cure was the first company in the world to develop the technology to naturally ferment essential amino acids, right? So that's where it all started. So we've made a lot of people healthy over the years, and but with the sophisticated consumer, particularly here in the US, really the US drives a lot of the trends that we see in our global group. So dietary supplements were a big thing. But when it came to beverages, it wasn't. It didn't start with me. I joined the team here in Kiowa, USA, coming from the head office 2 years ago. So we'd already started that journey, but it was really driven again by the consumer, but also our customers, because we had a large range of sports nutrition customers who, of course, are in the supplement powders and various products that you see in the natural food stores. And as you guys would have noticed, so many of them have launched a beverage. The functional energy category was sort of ripe for innovation and disruption, and they've really done a good job to come in with science-backed ingredients into the functional energy drink space. And now that's becoming so common, and we're seeing the same thing starting to happen at the grassroots with functional food. And probably the most adjacent category to those energy drinks in the store, you'll see other functional bars, the protein bars and things like that. So they're starting to absolutely look at ingredients, more sophisticated science-backed ingredients like Cognizant, like Amuse, to put into their functional food formulations.
The only other question I have, and if you have any questions, is go into the the science-backed portion of this. What type of studies have you done to prove the efficacy of? Let's start with Cognizant, because that's very important for brands to know as far as the efficacy to the customers. So what kind of studies have you done, and how have those worked? What kind of results did you get from those?
Yeah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but I think, is Katie, I don't think Katie has joined you guys yet. She might be a guest on future shows. Is that right?
We've only had Karen talk so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So Katie is our science person. So she's going to give you the best answer on that question. So I'll reserve the detail for her. But what I will say is that science is at the heart of everything we do. We really position ourselves as the safe and trusted supplier of branded functional ingredients. For both Cognizant and Amuse, we're talking dozens and dozens of studies, all at the highest standard of peer-reviewed, published literature that is available on our website. And but ultimately, what that helps to keep our customers safe, and they really appreciate that. So any company that we associate with is someone that's very interested in making people healthy and having the best science, and that's all backed up through the way that we obviously brand our ingredients with Cognizant and Amuse, and then we have it links to all of our social pages and our websites where people can read the science. Also, we have blogs that kind of put it in easy to understand language as well, so that people can understand what these products are doing for you. In summary, Cognizant is attention, focus, mental energy, memory. Amuse is a support of it's a award-winning, unique postbiotic that actually has a mechanism that has a comprehensive immune response and also supports an active lifestyle. So between those two ingredients, we think that we're kind of fortunate to be in two of the fastest growing segments. And you mentioned the MBJ Summit, Alex. That was validated once again that cognitive health, brain health, is the fastest growing segment. And the cool thing for us is the way that segment, the definition of cognitive health is expanding as well. It's no longer just trying to arrest a cognitive decline as you get older. Young people are really embracing the concept of brain health and mental health and the way that affects the way that you enjoy your life and your whole range of experiences and relationships. And it starts with your brain. And so that encompasses concepts like mood and other things that are very relevant right now. And that's part of what Cognizant can bring to any food and beverage formulation.
Great. Amazing stuff. We put the link up for Cognizant in the chat if you'd like to check that out. And Gerard, thanks again for being on the show today. If someone's interested in Kiowa or Cognizant, what's the best way for them to get in contact with your organization?
These days, I'd say LinkedIn, I think, Wade. The Kiowa USA, but we have individual websites for Cognizant, Amuse. And I'd encourage people to hit the where to find page on each of those as well, because we list all of our customer products. Again, we're a B2B supplier, so we're always about supporting the success of our customers that are formulating our ingredients into their wonderful products.
Yep, absolutely. And one thing I'll add is if you're a formulator and you work with different beverage brands and food brands, you can request samples, right, from Kiowa and utilize them in the formula, especially if your client is asking for a product that is functional, that provides, brain health and mental boost and focus and energy and all these amazing benefits that Cognizant offers. So yeah, if you're a formulator, you got to have this in your repertoire to offer your clients. So make sure to reach out to Kiowa for that.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, and we've been here in the US for well over 50 years. We have a local team, so we're not just an importer. We'll provide you with the sample, but we'll also give you whatever else you need when it comes to marketing support. We have a whole toolkit and a lot of the consumer insights. And I can talk beverage and CPG all day, so very happy to do that with anyone who's interested.
Awesome.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you, Gerard. Thanks for joining us on CPG Vibes and for our partnership and sponsoring us. We're going to have another member of Kiowa USA on we're going to get that episode date, but it's later in August. And Gerard, again, thanks for spending your valuable time with us and sharing the story.
Thanks again. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Take good care. Cheers. Okay. I said cheers because that's anyone that's from outside the United States. You just say cheers, right? Usually. So, all right. So we're going to get to our prize, by the way. So, and again, he's from New York, but originally from Australia. So our prize, going back into that, this is this episode, as you know, has been sponsored by Cognizant and Amuse. The prize is going to be a hoodie, a Find Your Focus hoodie that looks snazzy. I want this thing. Branded backpack, Goalie gummies. Goalie, one of the fastest growing supplements in the country, has Kiowa USA's ingredients. So go figure right there, right? That's a good testament to the quality of their product, right? Calm Energy Water. Also, they have Kiowa USA, Cognizant, Amuse. And then Ollie, the supplement brand, the lollipops. So this prize is worth up to $150. And we're going to ask a question and someone will answer it. And whoever answers wins. So, Wade, I usually take this one, but do you have a question for us?
I'm going to make it easy because we're almost out of time, and we've lost a couple people already. So let's make it easy. How about two? There's two. I'm taking something out of your book. I mentioned something. Well, that's a segue. That's a segue. So I mentioned a band that I saw last night. What was the band, and where am I currently? So
you have to answer both.
And while we're waiting, answer both. While we're waiting for that, Alex, why don't you tell everybody who's going to be joining us next week? Because we got a big show coming next week.
It's a huge show. So this is going to be our master series, which is basically one of the highest rated shows we have. We get usually the most people live on these, and so it's going to be a big one. So master series volume 3. We're going to have Max Bauman with Basemakers. He's the CEO of Basemakers, one of one of the biggest merchandising companies in the country, and they do broker services now. Adam Brown with Circle Media. Czar Danioko with high touch distribution, high touch libations, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mark Samuel doesn't really need any introduction, but for those that don't know and you're living under a rock, he's the CEO of I Want Organics, the CEO of Feel Good Cold Plunge, the CEO of Lifting with David. What else? I think we covered all of those. He's an entrepreneur.
You nailed it.
He's an entrepreneur.
Nailed it.
So
Anyway, so that's
next
big,
week.
big episode a week from today. So, Gavin answered the question. Nice job. Gavin needs all the free stuff he can get right now. He's gonna be the father of not just one, but two. And Alex, you know what it's like to raise an infant and all the expenses that come with it. So Gavin gets to do that 2 times over. So congratulations, Gavin. Marcy was a close second. She came in right after. So great stuff. Next week's going to be fantastic. Alex, have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you back here at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern on Friday for the Master Series episode. Again, I know we're a little bit over here, but thank you again to our ongoing sponsors, Range Me and My Way 3PL. We'll have in the show notes how to reach them. And thank you again to our weekly sponsor, which is Kiowa USA. So take care, everyone. Wade, love you, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Everybody.
Travel safe and take care, everyone.
See you.